Hello and welcome to episode 46 of the Fiber and Dice podcast. My name is Rebecca. I am Engineer's Falcon on Instagram and Ravelry. You can find my group on Ravelry at Fiber and Dice podcast, and you can find show notes at bluebonnetfibers.com, and you can find my handspun yarn and the Blue Bonnet Fibers shop on Etsy. This is my husband, the engineer. His real name is Charles.
Hello. And you can find me all those places as CS Guidance.
So, he posts lots of game things.
Yeah.
He posts board games more than I do, even though it's my contest on Instagram. He's still better to post about it. So, this episode is going to be called Do All the Things because, oh my goodness, we have done so much since last I spoke to you. What fun things have we done? Peaks. I don't think there are any pitfalls this week, only peaks. I got sorted into Ravenclaw. I am so happy. It's been the funnest month of my life ever. I even went out and bought a student planner to keep up with all the craziness because it is crazy. There are 2 bazillion things that you can do, not that you have to do. I apparently am just as an overachiever in fake school as I was in real school. I need to make all A's and sign up for every single class that exists. So my note pages are going on and on and on. But I'm okay with that. It's been a lot of fun. The first...
Our cat is having issues. We apologize for the technical difficulties. There you go.
She does not apologize. That was not an apology sound.
No, probably not.
So I have been very busy, as the Mountain of Conquered Things and Climbing the Mountain pile will reveal. More productive than I have been in months, years, ever. I don't know. What else has been going on? It's Thursday night. I'm trying to film on Thursdays. Last Thursday I had a migraine, so I bailed on you guys. You're glad. This Thursday, guess what? We just got home from Lubbock. Can you believe it? We went in the middle of the week instead of on a weekend, and we're still going to go on the weekend because that's what we do.
Yep.
But the engineer was working a recruiting fair at Texas Tech for Ecolab, and so that may be more information of your personal life than you want out there, but it's out there.
Apparently.
It's not secret. It's not secret that he works for Ecolab. So,
But yeah, we were looking for engineers to come work at sites, and so I talked to a lot of people the past 2 days, and I'm kind of surprised I still have a voice, and yeah, probably won't talk much at all tomorrow.
that's absolutely not true. I get jealous when he uses up his voice on other people. What else has been going on? Last week, I've missed 2 weeks in a row. I've missed 2 weeks. Last week, we had all sorts of exciting things happen. My best friend that we go and game with in New Mexico, her second oldest daughter came and spent a week with us. And she was so fun to have here. I enjoyed her so very much. And while she was here, my dad came and we cleaned out that wretched storehouse. It is done. It is empty. Everything that we didn't get rid of or give away fit in the garage or into the house. And I never have to go back to that wretched place again. I am so very glad. Also, while she was here, we did dance. The girl Geekling, Wiley, is doing dance this year instead of gymnastics. And she got moved up from beginning ballet to ballet 1 after 2 weeks. She danced when she was very little, but it's been 3 or 4 years, so I did not expect her to move up that fast. So we added dance on Thursday nights as well as all the other nights we were already dancing. So I'm very, very proud of her. We also, do you guys know Hank the Cowdog? You know I'm a big fan of books. And these are some of my favorite books since I was little, and they've become some of my children's favorite books, and they're far and away some of our very favorite audiobooks ever. Hank the Cowdog by John Erickson. And these are the very old copies. I don't know if they're quite first edition, but they are pretty old. They don't look like this at all anymore. But this is my copy. He was here in Midland at our library signing books. So the children got to go and get their favorite book signed. Keegan got book 1 signed, and Wiley got. She just showed
It's
up.
like magic.
It's like magic. She showed up. The Phantom in the Mirror. So he signed that and put the date. And I asked him very sweetly, and he did, if he would re-sign for me the book he signed for me in October of 1988. When I was a little girl, and I went to see him at Sentinel Bookstore in Lubbock, Texas, and he signed my Hank the Cowdog book. And I was a little starstruck then, and I was a little starstruck now. On top of that, because Mr. Smith was at this engineering fair, career fair in Lubbock, we happened to be in Lubbock when John Erickson was doing Hank the Cowdog live in concert in Lubbock Tuesday night. So we got to go and see him read and sing, and he and his wife played some of the songs and sang and played some bluegrass, and it was a wonderfully fun evening. So we have been Hank the Cowdog all over the place. Harley, dance, Hank, House Cup, Ravenclaw, lots of trips to Lubbock, game nights. I think that might be the bulk of what's going on. So something good that's happened to me in the realm of the actual fiber world, and I am so very excited. I take my wheel when we travel every weekend, and while we were there, my dad picked up my Lazy Cake, which holds 2, and said, "Do you need more of these?" And I said, "Well, that wouldn't hurt, whatever." I didn't care. So he set himself a project. He took it out. He measured it. He said, "Is 2 enough?" Because I was plying 3 plies at his house and things kept falling off, because what I normally do is stack one here and one beside it, and then on this little bit that sticks out, I stack a third one so that they all fit. Pretty crazy. And I said, "Well, if you're going to make one for me and you don't mind, would you make it to hold 3 bobbins instead of 2? And so when I got back a week later or 2 weeks later, he had made me this with felt on the bottom, and I have not found it to slide or anything. It sits very nicely, and these pop out, so when we travel, it goes flat in my bag like this, instead of this that wants to poke and not fit easily in things and all that. So I have been very pleased and excited, and I wanted to show that off because he's awesome, and I was really glad that he did that for me. Mountain of Conquered Things. I have not been reading much because I have been spinning and knitting for House Cup, because I will do anything for internet badges. Fake internet points are my favorite form of currency ever. So I don't know if you guys saw this one last time or not, so I thought I would show you just in case, because I am head over heels in love with it. It is up in the shop. This is called Autumn Gourds. I love it. It is a gradient, and it is beautiful. I also have finished. This was my first Harry Potter House Cup turn-in. This is called Viticulture. This was on the wheel last time we spoke. I remember now, because I had part of the pieces on the wheel and part of it. It's a bat from Knit Spin Farm. 2 bats, a green and a purple one. And so I divided each bat into 3 pieces. So there are 6 alternating sections of pink and green, and I spun them as a long single, and then I went back and plied them in with a thread of silver. And it is called Viticulture because we've been playing viticulture, and it looks like grapes, and it was my herbology turn-in for House Cup. So it will be in the shop soon. I also have finished this one, and oh, this one is so pretty. I'm kind of sad that I'm going to put it up in the shop, but it's definitely shop worthy. I'm calling this one The Wizard and the Phoenix, and it is these gorgeous purples and oranges. And it's all Barber Poli, and I adore it. So hopefully someone will snatch it up and give it a good home and somewhere to live. I haven't measured it yet. I'll measure it, obviously, before I put it in the shop. So I hope you will see lots and lots of spinning from me in the next few weeks, because if you remember Kelly B, she gave away jam for us. We went and visited her jam page. We took a field trip to the jam shop
Yep.
and gave away jam and looked at her jam. She has invited me to vend at her holiday fair, her little holiday. It's handcrafted things, handmade things, and so I'm very excited. So I don't have anything knit finished to show you. I did finish 3 washcloths out of this pretty inexpensive acrylic that I got at Hobby Lobby to make washcloths with. And so that was fun. And it's gorgeous. So I wish I could tell you what it was, but I can't. I don't have any idea. I don't even know who made it. We all know that I don't keep up with ball bands very well. When I'm at home and everything is in order and I have a place to put them, 90% of the time I keep up with them. As soon as we do something on the road, oh, I do know where that ball band was. I sent it to the dumpster. I remember now. They were like, we can go and dig it out. And I didn't care that much. I didn't. So what is on the wheel and the needles? What is climbing the mountain right now? First, I have this fiber. This is dyed by Fat Cat Knits. It's called Sweet Torty. I'm going to call it broomstick when I put it in the shop because of the holidays and because it looks very broomsticky to me. And I love it. So the rest of this is on the other bobbin on the wheel, and this is the bobbin that's finished. So I also have a sock on the needles. You guys might all faint when you hear this story. I am going to knit socks, and I'm not going to rip them out 100 times, and they are going to only take a few weeks each to make. No more of this socks on my needles for 6 weeks. I learned to measure feet and knit gauge swatches for socks. So, I'm doing them for my owl. You're supposed to learn something new and do something big and bold and brave for an owl, for the house cup. So that's what I'm doing. So, all the people, my husband, you've seen me rip his socks out a few times, and my friend in New Mexico are both getting socks. Do you see it?
So this
Right here.
no.
Is it right here?
I can't see.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is right there. This is on Into the Woods by, the yarn was dyed by Leading Man Fiber Arts. It's my first from them. It is MCN, and I love it. And this is the sock that's knitting up. So she wears I think a women's 5. She has a very small foot, and I wear a women's 9, and the engineer wears some Sasquatch size, ridiculous man feet. So I'm going to use the same plan for all 3 pairs of socks, but they're going to be for different sizes and different yarns. So I hired a tutor. I hired Ann Budd via Craftsy, and I did a toe that she taught on that class. I'm doing Hermione's everyday sock texture on them. I'm doing stockinette feet for everyone with normal feet, and for my little picky, whiny little feet, I'm going to do reverse stockinette so that this is on the inside. I'm going to do a fish lips kiss heel for all the heels. I'm going to go up the leg, and then I'm going to put a twisted rib cuff on all of them. So, I've gotten this far and I have not ripped it out. So I'm excited about that. And so far, I think it will fit. Her foot is a little bigger than my daughter's. My little girl is wearing women's shoes now.
Yeah.
She doesn't even, I can't even knit her baby socks fast anymore because I don't have any babies left at my house. What else am I working on? This.
Yes.
I am knitting a lap blanket kind of thing. Oh, I wish I'd written down what the pattern is. It's not even on my iPad.
No.
I'll put it in the show notes. But I found this pattern on, not Etsy, not Craftsy, not eBay. Ravelry. That's the one. I love this woven looking texture. It's very simple. It is multiples of 4 plus 2 for your cast on, and then it's a 4-row repeat. And so I'm going to use up all of my scrap yarn from miscellaneous projects that I bought stuff for and then didn't finish or just bought because it was inexpensive. I've got quite a bit of that. So it's going to be a skein of this. Then it is going to be a little bit of leftover blue, a little bit of leftover purple, another skein of this oatmeal color, a great big wide section of this pretty maroony wine color to go behind my neck. Hopefully it will be long enough to wear, just like right over my shoulders, not a full scarf length.
More,
Oh,
more oatmeal.
more oatmeal. I guess I could hold up the same bowl of oatmeal every time. You guys wouldn't care. Purple and blue again, and then more oatmeal. So I'm really excited about that. And I started this yesterday morning, and I've already got this far on it. So ended up spinning and putting together a very, very cool Legend of Zelda map puzzle that my mom had waiting for me when we got to Lubbock because she's awesome. Yeah. So a lot going on, a lot on the needles. It seems like I've got something else on the needles, but I don't think I do. I'm going to use this at some point very soon to make phone cases for my sister and I, but I'm not to it yet. I guess that's, what's that called? Base camp. That's what's in base camp. More socks in base camp. The rest of this in base camp. Fiber that's in base camp. This will be a good transition into the Fat Cat Knits knit along, spin along, yarn along. I'm going to extend it till the end of October because the last few months have been so hectic filming that I have not, haven't talked about it a whole lot, and I haven't shared my progress on those projects a lot. And so I thought I would just extend that, give us all some more time. And if you did not get in on it, the fiber, I'm going to have to go grab the fiber to show it off, is back in the shop. She put it back up for us for a little while. So you still have a month, 6 weeks, 5 weeks.
5.
So you can order it if you would like some, even if you don't want to yarn along, knit along. Would you talk about that it came from 2 games? And I will go grab fiber.
So it's based on 2 different games. One was Dungeons and Dragons, and so she made a colorway for that called Quest. And then the other one is based on Sushi Go, which is much brighter and happier, and that one is just called Sushi. So those are the 2, and here they are. You probably guess which is which.
I'm in my pajamas. I'm sorry. I didn't know I would be walking around on the podcast. Sushi and Quest. They are on 3 bases and a yarn. So I would really encourage you to go and order some of that and join us. You can hashtag it Sushi Quest, YAL, Sushi Quest Yarn Along on Instagram. 2 threads going on Ravelry. There's one that's a chatter thread. I will be drawing a prize from that. And then I'll be drawing a few prizes from the finished objects thread. So if you've started it and it's kind of gotten pushed aside for the beginning of school and all the fall things that come with that, then this is your chance to hop back on it. So what's next? I think I'm going to have a carving out time section today. It has been almost a year. This week I'm carving out time for mindfulness. I read a quote that said mindfulness is easy. It is remembering to be mindful that is hard. And I found that to be absolutely true. To take time to be in the moment and to think about what I'm doing and to stop multitasking so much and to be aware of my body and my family and what's going on around me and aware of my thoughts. And so I am carving out time for as long as it takes for it to become habit to practice mindfulness. So when I do that, I find it's really helpful. I find things that are freaking me out. I find things that are making me anxious. I find things to appreciate. I find things to be very happy about, and I love it. But it's something that you have to carve out time for. You have to work on it on purpose. So, carving out time. I might start a thread in Ravelry for carving out time. If anyone wants to, there won't be prizes or anything, but if you want to come over and hop over like we used to do, and you used to tell me what you were going to carve out time for, and we cheered each other on, I would like that. You're welcome to come and join me on that. There is another regular segment. Oh, ducks in a row. I'm sure that this is not my idea, but it's not anything I remembered learning, and it's something that has just kind of naturally developed for me. And I am calling it visual cues. I'm a list maker. I make lists. I like lists. I'm very good at lists. But what happens is when it comes down to crunch time, I forget to look at the list. So this started with packing to leave town. And you would think after leaving every weekend for 2 years almost, and sometimes more, that I would have this down to an art. And I do, I know. But in the rush of trying to get out the door, I forget to do a lot of things. So I'm going to show you my kitchen. Right there on the corner, see where, right here. Right here, on this corner. Every time I think of something that I need to do, I keep my list there. But on top of the list, I stack something from what I need to remember. If I need to start the dishwasher before I go, I pull the little dishwasher tab out and set it in that pile. I need to change the trash before we leave town, because you need to change the trash before you leave town, especially if you have a bunch of yogurt eaters in your house, because ooh. Then I set the clean trash bag here. I need to remember to call in a prescription. I set the prescription bottle here. I need to remember to record a book. I set it here. So that every time I walk by this corner in the middle of my house, I remember that I need to do that. And I don't have to worry about forgetting it on the list. Now, it's possible to walk by this corner and ignore it. It is possible to ignore everything you set up for yourself. But I'm finding that having those visual cues to help me remember things that I would otherwise forget has been really, really helpful. I stack school books there. Like sometimes I forget to do read alouds if we have more than one going on. And so I'll stack those right there. When we need to, yeah, okay. I have trouble remembering to switch the laundry. 17 years, I do. It's legit. I forget a lot. Then I will like put the lid from the laundry basket over there, just leaning it up against the wall. So throughout the day, every time I walk by, I remember I need to check the laundry. I'll set the starch there so I don't forget to iron the engineer shirts. So, visual cues, something so that when I see it, I will go, I have something I need to do. Because I make my list, but then lots of times I don't get back to it till the end of the day to see what I've accomplished, and then it's too late because it's the end of the day and I'm getting tomorrow's list ready. So, I've started setting things out a lot. Ooh, dinner. I can set things out for dinner. If I need to put something in the crock pot the next morning, usually it's at lunch the next day, and I remember when I get up the next morning, then I put the liner for the crock pot in that pile. I can put all sorts of things in that pile so that I will think about it every single time I look over there. And I've been forgetting this stuff, I'm pleased to say. So, that's my ducks in a row. And now it is time for Gamerly News. Welcome to Gamerly News. There is some sad news on the Kickstarter front.
Yeah. I looked
I
up what that was.
don't
Go ahead.
remember the name. I was so very excited about a game, and Charles is looking up the name of it. It has been over a year, and I don't keep that information that long. And I talked about it on the podcast, and then he linked to my podcast in his blast email with updates and stuff, and it was all very fun. And he's not going to be able to finish the game. He is returning our funds, which I thought was very kind. So if you backed that on my recommendation, then you will already know that it's not going to happen. But I was very, very sad. It's the first time we've backed,
A lot. I'm trying to scroll through the ones I've either
it's
backed or tagged.
pages. We've backed lots of things on Kickstarter, and this is the first time we have ever had one not happen. So that's good news. It's good news that it's only happened once, and that he's handling it really well.
Scrapyard Empire.
Scrapyard Empire. I thought it was Steampunk Empire, but I knew that
Yeah.
wasn't right. Scrapyard Empire. So, good news and bad news. But we know that's a risk. We know that's a risk when we do anything on Kickstarter. And so far, I'm bummed, but I don't even feel like we got burned because he didn't steal all of our money and run off with our funds. So,
And we did get two or three games in the mail this week.
oh, we did.
Catacombs, which is massive.
It's the biggest box ever.
It is this kind of fun dungeon crawling game where one person is kind of the monster side, and then 1 to 4 other people, I think, are the heroes, and you're wizards and dwarves and warriors and priests, and so you're going in and fighting monsters in the dungeon. But you do that by flicking these little discs around, and they're actual wooden discs. And this box probably weighs like 10 pounds because of it. What are we looking for?
I was just showing the stats. While you
Oh, yes. And we haven't gotten to play it yet. I'm still trying to go through the rules, and we're going to need to sticker all of the wooden pieces.
Yay, stickers!
When I put that up on, it's one of the most replied to, I guess, pictures I put up as far as people commenting and congratulating us on backing that one. We also got...
Well, and it's not a new game, is it? Right?
No, it's a reprint of, I think the original game's 15 years old. It had very different art, and I think a little bit different rules. So they kind of updated the rules, refreshed them for the modern board game scene.
Yeah, but it was already an established game. So that gives me, when we're backing things on Kickstarter, some of the things we look for, one, is that they've done this before successfully. We have backed some totally random people, and we have been burned very little. 2, established companies that are using this more like a pre-order system. We're usually pretty confident in those. And 3, things like this, reprints of games that, this was an established game. It's getting a makeover or a special edition or something like that. Then we're usually pretty confident jumping on that. The other thing I look for is who's tracking it on social media. Places like Geek Mom and Geek Dad and
Board Game Quest is one that I follow,
Yep.
as well as Eric Martin from BoardGameGeek.com, the website we use to track all of our games.
Yep.
He puts out all these websites put out weekly kind of blog posts or email updates on here are the Kickstarters that have hit our radar this week. This is kind of briefly what we think about them.
And again, they have a lot more history with a lot of these companies and track records and watch things more closely than we do. So, again, there's no guarantee, but that kind of gives me confidence when we send them our money that we may or may not ever get something for.
Yeah.
So, I know lots of people have been really burned by Kickstarter stuff, at least in the game, book, geekosphere. So far, we have not gotten burned at all. So, I've been very pleased with that. So, 2x2 by 12. We are playing a new game, Kickstarter.
Yeah, we kickstarted this, and another one by him. But
We've played Artifacts Inc. We've only played it once, so I'm not going to give a lot of feedback on it yet. It is published by Red Raven Games. The idea is that you are an archaeologist and you are out collecting artifacts. And you are doing things with them like selling them to museums, and you are exploring new dig sites. You roll dice. You use those dice to perform different actions. And there are a handful of different choices that you can do. How would you categorize this game, Mr. Smith?
It's kind of, it's action selection as far as you roll the dice, and then depending on what numbers come up, that you put the dice out of different cards, or selecting kind of what you're going to do. And then it's also tableau building. So if you played, what's a good one? Race for the Galaxy is one that comes to mind. This is a lot simpler than that.
That's a good thing for me.
It's a lot easier to follow the icons on this. But in there, you're buying cards, but instead of putting them in a deck or putting them in your hand or doing something else, you lay them out in front of you, and you're building this tableau of cards. You start with 4, and then you kind of add more, and they add additional dig sites or
Workers.
additional workers. They make other cards cheaper to buy, or
All sorts
other
of fun
things to give you more money.
bonuses.
So they all end up working together. So you're kind of building your strategy based on which ones you buy.
I didn't hate it. I kind of liked it. It was the first time I played it. It was not near as overwhelming as a lot of other games have been. It is 60 minutes. Did it take us that long?
It didn't take us that long.
It didn't take us that long. It may be longer with more people. We only played with 2.
True.
2 to 4 players, ages 13 plus. I'd say that's pretty spot on. It's not one that I'm going to teach the kids right away.
Yeah, it takes a little more thinking and strategizing
planning things out.
Yeah,
And
it's the planning that really makes that break between 8 to 10 to 12, and then like 13 or 14 and up.
Yep.
Um,
And I guess my official game of the week this week, Hobbit Day passed. So I
Yes.
thought I would talk about Love Letter Hobbit. You guys know I have a soft spot for Love Letter, and if you didn't already know, now you know I have a soft place for Hobbit. And I really like this version of Love Letter. It is not too different, but it's a smidge of change than just putting a different skin on it. Most of the cards work exactly the same way. 1, 2,
8.
no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 all work the same way that they do in traditional Love Letter. So Gandalf's our handmaiden. Handsome handmaiden that he is. So you get to ignore effects from other players' cards until it's your turn again. The Arkenstone serves as the princess. All of that runs the same. Ha ha ha. The artwork is gorgeous. They're sleeves, so they're giving a little glare. Sorry about that. Traditional list of cards that you would expect to find in Love Letter. Instead of getting blocks, little red blocks to mark how many times you've won, you get jewels. And I think this is the only game we have that has this specific colored jewel in it. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I could be forgetting something, but I kind of liked it was a colored jewel that we didn't already have.
Yeah.
So, things that run a little different. I'll do this one. You can do the next one. There is a 0 card, the One Ring, and its text reads, "This card has no effect when discarded. At the end of the round, this card counts as a 7. So, sneaky. So, it can get you up there. It's 2 7s with one that doesn't do anything, except look pretty and make you invisible and steal your soul.
Yeah, side effects. The other change they made was for the number 3 card. In the past, that's been the guard, and so you play that, and then not the guard. I'm sorry, the Baron. Thank you.
Not
the Baron. So you would play him, and then you would still have 1 card in your hand.
Guard.
Yes, guard.
Guard.
Smile with the guard. You play the Baron, you still have a card in your hand, you compare that with somebody else, and whoever has the lower number is out. So for this, they put Legolas and Toriel as the 3s. Make sure I get this right. Lower, okay. Legolas plays traditionally like the Baron does, so you compare the card you have left, and the lower number is out. Toriel turns that around, and so if you played her, then whoever has the higher number when you compare the 2 cards is out. So there's a little bit of strategy and then a little bit of extra layer to the card counting to keep track of which one of these has been played as opposed to which one is still left out there.
Did we decide when you're calling for the guard how that works? Do you have to pick the right one? There's been some debate at our table as to, because when you play a guard, you name another character, and if that person has that character, then they have to discard their card.
Yeah, I think we decided that it needed to be specific.
You have to name the right one. Now, someone who has read the rules...
That may not be official, I don't know.
That may not be official. That's the house rule on it. It may match the official rules. It may not. You know we like house rules here, too. So, that is what is going on. I really think that's about it. Yeah. Gaming has been a little slim because our evenings have been so busy. Yeah. We've gone from having 0 evening activities to lots of evening activities. And it's been fun. Those are good changes. So that is a wrap for episode 46. Lord willing and the creek don't rise. I will see you guys one more time this month. Bye.
Bye.